Mrs. Gary. Busey. Well, diary, I reckon this entry is just going to kindly be a private, just betwixt the two of us. See, this is of an intensely private nature. I was abducted by aliens. Twice. The first time, diary, I pulled over an off-ramp to buy a bag of oranges from Senior Citrus. He commenced to giving me the poor mouth about his truck being broke down, so I told him I'd give him a ride for 2 bags of oranges. I should have known something was up on account of the way old Senior jumped on the offer. He handed me a bottle of bar brand tequila, and before I knew it, I woke up beside the road in the middle of the desert wearing just my BVDs and a scorpion like a nipple ring. My dadgum car was gone, but kudos to Senior Citrus. He did leave me what was left of that bottle of old buzzard puke and them 2 bags of oranges. It's good for your heart and makes you pee. Always take your vitamin C. Juicy, juicy, turn me loosey, squirt. So, diary, there I sat on a big rock, sipping hooch, sucking on an orange, and watching the sun go down. I tried to use my cell phone to call Crazy Frankie, but I couldn't get a signal. Hard to believe, because I've always had such good luck with T-Mobile. I was stuck with waiting for the next car to come by. Just as it got dark, I see 2 lights heading down the road toward me. But the closer they got, the higher off in the road they seemed to be. Before I know it, them lights is overhead, and they're attached to a thing that looked like a big hovering French toilets, you know, them fancy ones that have the drinking fountain in the middle. Before I knew it, a bright beam of light hit me, and I started floating up in the air. I took the final pull off that bottle of tequila just before I got sucked up into the mothership. Hey, Ma, look at me, flying like a bumblebee. Gonna leave the human race, fly around in outer space, hope potato melt my face. USA! All of a sudden, like I'm standing in the belly of a humongous space scooter. Now, it weren't nothing like you see in the movies. It looked kind of like the hotel at the Orlando airport. They even had an Olive Garden. At least that's what it looked like. The sign above the door was written right and I didn't hobnob. But it looked like it said... But it had a picture of a bowl of noodles under it, so there you go. Before I could give my name to the hostess, I got surrounded by a passel of space chicks. I don't reckon that they'd ever seen such a handsome, virile earthling before. All them female space gals come over and they started to touching me. At least I think they was gals. I hope they was gals. Hell, I don't readily know for sure. They all looked a good bit like Margaret Cho with better skin and less up top. Not a best case scenario, but the fact is I've been out of action for a while and that tequila was lowering my defenses, so I didn't squawk about it. Because, you know, who's ever gonna know? Homely space gal, please pardon me, homely space gal. Is you a he or she, homely space gal? You turn me on and that's the truth. What do you think of my big toots? Let me nibble on you. About that time the men folks showed up. What a sorry bunch of goobers they were. Every last one of them looked like a sadder, more pitiful version of David Schwimmer. If that's even possible. Well, they took me by the arms and led me to a room with a big doctor's table on it. I'd seen enough specials on the Sci-Fi Channel to know what this was about. They were fixing to look up my old address. Unlucky for them, I was in a good mood, so I dropped trowel and jumped up on the table. I said, okay there, E.T., let's get this over with. If there was any probing heading my way, I wasn't too worried about it. Every one of them had these long, pencil-thin fingers, not like my regular doctor. So if they were going to give me the Jeff Dunham treatment, I figured the booze would take the edge off. The one that I figured was the main doctor had this big old ring on his finger. I said, "Hey there, Ben Spacey. Why don't you lose that ring before you do your thing?" I started laughing, but he didn't think it was funny. They put this gimmick over my schnoz, and I was off to dreamland. Hey, Scotty, beam me up. Space critters, giddy up. Feet in the stirrup.